You are listening to the B2B Marketing Mindset with Pete Monfre and Bill Lowell. We want to help demystify marketing to reduce risk, drive more and better opportunities, and grow your business. Are you ready to master marketing?
All right. Hey, I'm Pete Monfre. Let's get into the marketing mindset, shall we? Listen, welcome to episode 103. 103 episodes. I'm also proud to announce we just surpassed 30,000 subscribers, and we've got a fantastic guest today who's a LinkedIn top voice. His company has earned an Inc. 500 award, is it 500 or 50? I think it's
it was 500.
For the fastest growing private companies in America. Absolute pro. We're glad to have him on the program. And today's topic is cold emailing versus cold calling. And don't make these mistakes. We're going to share with you the do's, the don'ts, and the uh-ohs for trying to reach prospects. But real quick, this program, B2B Marketing Mindset, is brought to you by Clarity Marketing Support and sponsored by Business Development Directives and Heidi Designs. So we want to make sure we give them some credit for all of the work they do to make this possible. It is not just me. There's lots of people helping out. So, but let's welcome Mr. Bill Lowell on the program.
Thank you, Pete.
You know what? I think the audience loves you. You can't hear the applause. Oh, you have them there in the room, though, right? You have the audience there?
No, my relatives left, but thank you so much.
They left. So, hailing from a small village in the vast winterscape of Wisconsin, founder of Business Development Directives, marketing research firm. You can find them at bddonline.com. So it's good to see you as always, my friend. Always a big help to me. Advisor, mentor, friend. Always appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's right back at you. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to Louie's insights today. So that's going to be exciting. And one of the things you talked about being in the winter wonderland, it's funny because you wouldn't believe how many cars I'm seeing this month from Texas, Georgia, Florida. So everybody's coming up here, I think, to get out of all that heat and all the crazy weather. So I hope they enjoy it while they're here.
I do not blame them at all. So it's nuts out here. Although it's going to be not 100 degrees for about a week, which really means 99, just 99 degrees.
Okay, well,
so
that's a cool wave.
But anyway, let's introduce our guest. Really pleased. And let me kill the music there because it started again. Louie's an expert's expert. That's the way that I like to refer to him. I look at his bio and I talk to him. He's also a kindred spirit. Mr. Louie Bernstein, welcome to the program. Fractional sales leader, right?
Yep.
But there's more to that, right? And, I think that you could probably do the best telling the folks who you are, a little bit about you and your business, take a couple minutes, and then we'll jump right into the topic, which I think is a great topic.
Okay. Glad to. Thanks for having me, by the way.
My pleasure.
As brief as I can make it, background about myself. I actually started my sales career at age 10. I was working at a hot dog stand in Skokie, Illinois in 1962. And I'm pretty sure I was the first guy to ever say, "You want fries with that?" It was after that McDonald's kind of stole it from me and ran with it. But I've been in technology sales my whole career. I was an IT recruiter to begin with, became a programmer for a while, worked for large computer companies. I worked for a small computer company called EMC. I was employee number 56, which of course went on to become Dell Computer and, $6 billion and everything else. And no, I don't have any stock options anymore. And then really got the entrepreneurial bug, left there, started my own IT training company here in Atlanta, ran it for 22 years, bootstrapped it. And that's actually where we earned the Inc. 500 during a 5-year period of growing really quickly. And then, running a business that long, small business, is tough. And around year 20, I burned out, actually. And one morning, I just didn't want to go to work. And I was burnt out. I went and saw somebody. They told me I had job burnout and clinical depression, and I better make some changes. So I did. I sold off the assets to the business, took a break, went to work for some other people, just a kind of as a sales leader, chief sales officer for small businesses, but wasn't going to last. Did that for about 3, 4 years, got the bug again. And so about 5, 6 years ago, I started this fractional sales management consultancy where I just work about 20, 25 hours a week, kind of at my own pace, my own schedule, and I'm loving it. I go places where, I can help, where they want help and willing to listen, and, projects that I find interesting. And so that's what I do.
Isn't that great? I think we're all in that situation, and it's beautiful. And and I know that Bill and I have both been through that. Well, I don't know if Bill, did that happen to you? Did you get to a point where you're just burned out and
No, I don't think so, but
you're
I
just
like a
getting
lot of
there now?
variety. But no, yeah, yeah, just now. But I love what he just said though, because that's where we are. I mean, we'll take only jobs that are exciting. People are decent people to work with, and they pay on time. That's my three criteria.
It's funny. We'll do so much for our clients, so many things, and jump through so many hoops. We only ask one thing of them: just pay us. It's so simple. It's very
Yeah,
simple.
but pay us on time.
On time. There's a
Yeah.
qualifier. But I love this topic because there's a lot of people who think cold calling and cold emailing are as cold as a corpse, right? Dead. I don't know if that's true. I don't think so. I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about this. One thing that we have seen across the board, I talk to a lot of agency owners uh, across the country. People, and I say agency, I mean all kinds of different marketing type companies, but everybody's seeing a reduction in open rates, click-through rates, the things that the tried and true things that we do to do outreach are not working as well. But I also see a lot of very badly done email. My inbox is full of them. Do I want more clients? How many people can send me that email? I don't know. Pete, would you like more clients? No, actually, I wouldn't. But why don't we jump in and we'll just talk about this because I just think it's a great topic. So the first talking point is why cold email is a big mistake. So why is that, Louie?
So if the choice is between cold email and cold call, the reason I suggest not doing cold email is for the following reasons. First, spam filters are getting more sophisticated. And you can get your domain banned for life these days. If Google and Yahoo put out this policy, if you send out 500 a day and you get a complaint percentage score of a certain amount, they'll just toss you out. They don't really care. And if the idea is to engage a client, you want them to at least get your message. And if the first one that goes in there gets rejected, they'll never even know you exist. So that's the first reason why I say don't send an email first. Why I suggest cold calling first.
So is part of it also, I mean, I agree with all of that, by the way. I think that cold is cold, right? And people are just inundated with messages. But I think what I've seen is there's another factor to this. And that factor is that the email just isn't relevant to me. A lot of times they won't even have my name right.
Right.
My name's not Kevin or Cabin. As I had a call yesterday that said, "Is this Cabin?" I'm like, "Cabin? That's not even a name." But it's all about them. I thought that I would do this. I want this. Here's all the things I do. I, right?
Yeah.
Also generic. There's
Okay.
there's generic. So
Yeah.
it's a combination issue, is it not?
Yeah, well, it is a combination. Let me address that in 1 second. Let me first go back to why to kind of complete the sequence, why I think you're better off making a cold call. And we can also talk about the components of a good cold call, and I'll tell you what I think are the good components of a cold email. When you pick up the phone, you have a chance of getting them on the line, right? There's a chance. I think about 10% go through, but you do have a chance of getting them on the line. And if you do, and they're willing, you say the right things, and they're willing to listen to you for a couple of minutes, then you don't have to send a cold email, right? So you're kind of increasing your odds. Even if you get voicemail, you get their voicemail, you can leave the voicemail. And then in the voicemail say, I'll be following this up with an email. Here's my email address. Please take a look out for it. So you kind of can circumvent the spam hell, if you will. And so actually, I also have a really good tip for leaving a voicemail too. So on point to your what comes in the cold email, interestingly enough, or coincidentally enough, this week I put a post on LinkedIn and I pasted a copy of an email I received recently. I blanked out the names and the company and all that stuff. No need to shame anybody or anything like that. It's just for an example. But it was really like you say, you know, hey, Louie, I think they got my name right. I don't know. Hey, Louie Bernstein, you know, I do this, I do this. We will get you this. We've been known for this. I. And as a seller, the first thing you have to know, it's not about you. It's about them. It's always about them. It's not what I do. It's what you get.
Right.
And you have to phrase it around. And to your point about they didn't even know your name, I think part of it is automation. I think part of it is even getting worse because of AI. And I think third component is it's laziness. Salespeople, just some of them, don't do their research. They don't want to spend the time, learn a little bit about your business, learn a bit about your struggles, what you're going through, and try to match it if they can to the solution that they have. And, it just works so much better.
Absolutely, and take 5 minutes. It doesn't take a lot of time, um, but I'm curious as to what Bill thinks about. We're gonna talk about calling in a second, so let's keep the topic on cold emails. So tell us a little bit from your perspective, Bill. What works? What doesn't work? What do you hate?
I just hate getting them. So, I think to Louis' point, we very rarely will send, I don't think I've ever sent out a cold one unless we're sending out something like it's a pre-email with regard to a survey that's coming up, where you kind of do the pre-launch of a survey for a client. But so yeah, I mean, I know he's going to talk about this, but having something really good in the subject line, at least to make sure that you're legit. But I agree with Louis too. And I think there's so many things going on with the spam filters that they're just getting so sophisticated. And I don't blame them. I'm glad about that. So, but I can't tell you how many I go through every morning. I'll get into my email and I don't even read them anymore. If I don't recognize who it's from, I just click, delete, 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 So I just go through that. That's kind of like a morning ritual with my coffee every day. So I just, in my opinion, I think it's a waste of time. Now I know there's a lot of people that will use a service and do that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But I've really never had great luck, and I know my clients don't really have good luck with that either.
Now we're talking about sending sales messages mostly. So we
Right.
do a lot of email marketing here for our company and for our clients, but we do something different. We're sharing insight, we're sharing knowledge. We are we're never almost never going to send an overt kind of sales pitch. We might say, hey, we got this special running for my wife's company, for example, that you can get a website for a special price or something like that. But it's
Yeah.
always in the context of some other uh, juicy piece of information that's going to help you do your job better. It's going to make you a more informed client, and that's how we want to use email to build relationships, to reinforce. We have a very low unsubscribe rate. We have a 67% open rate.
Wow.
and we had about a 7% click rate, and it's kind of dropped down to about 5. And so we are seeing some changes there, but I do think it's because our inboxes are bursting at the seams with garbage, and it's hard for people to discern that. And then of course I have AI spam filtering, and it works really, really well. And so, but sometime we'll do a program and show some of the emails, but I don't know if I want to redact their names. I think that there should be a wall of shame.
They deserve to be punished. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just not that nice. And so, but I think there's a place for email, but you got to show them that you care enough to do your homework.
Yeah.
So when you include a little bit about them that you dug up with their LinkedIn profile using Google, like I say, if I reached out to Louie cold and I said something about, Louie, my God, you're a great guitar player. What in the heck? Maybe we should get acquainted. I bet Louie would probably respond to that, because I didn't try to sell him anything. I just said, hey, I want to know you, right? In fact, I probably reached out to you on LinkedIn similarly. And
Yeah, I think so.
And now we're friends. I mean, so
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Next talking point. So calling, I love this topic. Why is cold calling still effective? So what you're saying is it really isn't cold email versus cold calling. It's how do you do these things in the right order, use them together? And I think the thing that stops people from calling is fear of rejection. And then the second is they don't know what to say. They feel like, I don't know what to say. And I think the third thing is they don't think anyone's going to answer.
Yeah.
Go, Louie.
So, yes, fear. Fear is the biggest obstacle. Nobody likes to be hung up on. Nobody wants to hear, don't ever call me again. As you know, nobody wants to hear that. I mean, people are human, but it's part of the job. If you're a police officer, nobody wants to get shot at. But it's gonna happen. And so you do your best to protect yourself, right? And with sales, the main thing is fear and your ego kind of getting in the way of doing your job. And I think that can be overcome with a couple of things. The first is confidence in what you sell and what you say. So product knowledge of your own product are just table stakes. They just kind of get you in the game, and you better know them cold. And coming in with a script. Now, people will say, "Oh, you're salespeople. I hate scripts. They make me sound like a robot." And I don't want to sound like a robot. But what I liken it to them is an actor in a great scene, and you've watched them, and you say, "Boy, that was something." Well, they memorized that script. They just didn't think it up, but it's become a part of them. And maybe once it becomes a part of them, they tweak it a little bit to their personality with intonation and inflection and things like that. And that's the key, is to, whatever the script is, if you wrote it yourself or your sales manager wrote it for you, is to do it as many times until you can't get it wrong. And then make it your own. And you'll do that a number of times and you'll build your confidence. And so that's one of the things that I suggest that will help conquer that fear of calling and what to say.
I think the script issue, I think people misunderstand what it is. It's like a guide that you internalize it. And if you do this,
talking points.
They're talking points, but there's also some technique, pattern interrupts. I noticed in one of your videos you talk about, don't be calling people up and saying, "Hey, Louie, Pete Monfre here. Hey, how are you doing, man? How's it going?" Right? Unless it's me calling you, I could probably get away with it now. But if I didn't know you, you'd be like, tough, salesman, right? You give yourself away and you don't get a chance, right? Asking permission. That's a huge thing. Like, don't do the things that pushy salespeople do. Do the opposite of those things. And then be quick about it and be authentic and honest I think that's what people really welcome is a level of honesty. And if you make a fool out of yourself, don't worry. Remember, we just said they don't care about you, they care about themselves. They're going to forget that you
Right.
even exist in about 10 minutes from now. And
Right.
so, I think the three of us, we don't probably have to make a lot of cold calls anymore at this point in our career, but there are people out there that should. And sometimes I think maybe I should keep doing this. But, Bill, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, and you're right. We don't make a lot, but it's interesting. The last couple of weeks, we did have to make some because we were trying to recruit for some focus groups that we were conducting, and it was really fascinating. But I think a couple of things. One, what I think it's important, like you said, be as honest and be upfront, but make sure you do the research so you know, like you said, who you're talking to. But in my opinion, what worked really well with our cold calling for that was just being straightforward right away too, and letting people know what we were doing. So, and then giving them the chance to respond. But you're right, it wasn't that familiar stuff. It was just like getting to the point, so people didn't hang up. But my biggest concern, and what I see every single day in our office, is the gatekeepers. I mean, it's hilarious. I get a chuckle every day because somebody will call and ask for William, and I've never gone by that name in my life. So it's like when somebody's asking for William, it's hilarious. And then Jan from our office gives them the third degree, and then we'll hang up on them and nothing ever happens. But if they only knew to tell her the truth, what are they trying to do and what's going on? She might pass on the message to me, but otherwise it's never happening, So it's kind of like a game, and it's a little comical. So that's my experience with it. Is just get to the point quickly, and if you have a gatekeeper, tell them the truth and let them know what you're trying to do, and see if they'll pass it on to the person.
Well, and Louis has a video about gatekeepers that I really like too. And I made one about gatekeepers too a while ago. And the thing about gatekeepers is this. So everybody tries to play the gatekeeper, right? Because the gatekeeper has three tools. Who's calling? What company are you from? And what is this in regard to? That's all they
Exactly.
got. That's all their
Yeah,
ammo, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so if people try to trick them, but what they don't understand is that gatekeeper, 100 people have tried to trick them today.
Right.
And so you are really outgunned here. So what Sandler teaches, and I'm a big fan of Sandler sales, at least my version of it, right, is to empower that person to make the decision. Give that person the power to decide whether you get to talk to the person that you're calling or not. Treat them with the same respect and the same deference that you would the actual prospect, and see how far that gets you, right? And no one does this. Everyone's trying to trick them. Nobody's showing them respect that they deserve, because they actually have two jobs, and we never think about this, right? It's to not let the wrong people through, but the other job is to make sure they let the right people through. And so you want to be the right person, but let them make that decision for you. It's okay. Um, that's something that I just thought I would throw out there. Um,
That would be a good episode sometime too. All of the lies that people have said to get through. I mean, we could all give some off the top of our head, but I mean, how many times have people said, oh, we've had a conversation last week, and I just following up on that conversation. It's like, I mean, I could give you 10 off the top of my head, but it's like, just like you said, it's just so ridiculous. It's actually
yes.
pretty comical.
So what is this regarding? It's a personal matter. Where are you calling
Yes.
from? I'm calling from the public health clinic. It's
Yeah,
probably best that I
exactly.
talk to Mr. Jones in person.
Exactly.
Don't try that. Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there's a place for calling people on the phone, but it is a game of voicemail. You need to have a great. You mentioned you have a
Right.
voicemail. What's your voicemail hack? And I'll share
That'd
mine
be great to hear
if it
that.
isn't the same.
Well, there actually it's two part, and the first one's easy. The first one is you got to make it less than 22 seconds.
Mhm.
I found if you go on longer than that, it's click, it's delete, right? So you got to get to the point real quickly. Bob, the reason I'm calling you is that 83% of the CEOs I speak with complain that they're pouring money into sales without getting any kind of results that they want. And then maybe, here's the benefit. This is what I offer, a sales audit. Please get in touch if I can help with one for you. Notice I didn't give my name yet. I didn't give my name and phone number yet. Then I go, this is Louie Bernstein, and here's my number at the end. And the reason why is that people get a voicemail and they pick it up and they hear, that is Pete Monfre, and they don't know you, they may just delete it. And then you never get your message out. So I think salespeople kind of have it backwards, but they're tempted to let them know because they think that's polite. But I suggest my hack is give the message first while you're calling, the benefit to them, then give your name and number, and do it in under 22 seconds.
And name and number first is kind of burying the lead, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
That's not the important part of it. So
No.
what Sandler would teach us is a voicemail like this. Hi, Louie, this is Pete Monfre. Listen, when you get a chance, give me a call back. It's important that we talk. My number is, actually call my cell phone, 512-663-7393. Now that used to get about an 85% callback rate. It does not anymore. And so I like your approach because you're actually seeding information. And by the way, you're giving them the choice, right? If they don't have any interest in that, our sales are gangbusters. What do we need you for? Great, you just saved us both time.
Right.
I love that. And I could have just inserted the word marketing,
Sure.
and in his exact same pitch that we would use. So
And when I hear that it's important that we talk, the first thing I think is important to who?
right.
Right.
Important to them, because this is one thing that got me over my call reluctance a long time ago. One is it doesn't matter if you make a fool out of yourself. You got 30 calls to make. So big deal. One of them goes south, you got 29 more, and they're going to forget about you. But the other one was, if you know that you do something that's going to change somebody's life for the better, let's say if you had a cure for cancer and you were calling people with cancer, would you have call reluctance? Would you not want to let them know about that? Whether they may not want to hear about it, that's okay. They might not believe you, that's okay. But if you really believe in what you're doing, is it not your duty to let people know?
Absolutely.
At least during business hours, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, the other thing that I like, Louie, what you said as well is, you know, besides you giving that percentage right off the bat, you said of the people that I've worked with or that I work with. So again, you're also, in my opinion, you're getting some intrigue going there. Like, oh, what is this guy? You know, so like you said, giving that message, getting a little curiosity, you were straightforward, and then the name and the number in case they want to call with the option, Pete. I think that's a good approach. I really do.
Thanks.
Absolutely. I think that's a great approach, and I'm going to steal it.
Please do.
Real quick, for
You'll
those
help
I'm
me
not,
with
because
my-
I fear making phone calls. I just can't do that. But if I wanted to lie, I could tell them we have a cure for cancer. So there you go.
That's right.
That's what I'm going to steal.
You're all set.
Yeah.
But listen, real quick, I wanted to get this in here. If you're listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts, where the most of you are listening, you're not getting the whole picture. This is a video podcast. It's live every Thursday, and of course it goes out through the feeds on Friday in audio form. But if you want to see the lovely people, the shiny teeth, and the attractiveness, you want to see the whole picture, go to b2bmarketingmindset.com. Go ahead and subscribe at YouTube or Spotify or whatever your favorite platform is, but go subscribe at b2bmarketingmindset.com. Also, there's a lot of special stuff for people that subscribe. So just wanted to get that out there, gentlemen. On to the next point.
Well, and I would say they could see your guitar and they could see Louie's in the background and your violin. So I mean, they're missing so much if they.
Maybe we'll play him. I don't know, someday. This is actually a mold. My father, before he passed away, he made violins, and it says mold number 55. This is the 55th iteration of a mold. And so I just keep that up there next to the Starship Enterprise.
That's so cool.
So the post call, so okay, you've made a call, maybe you've left a voicemail, maybe you've talked to them. either way, there's going to be a post-call email. Am I getting that right?
I would say so, yeah. Yeah, I don't have a problem doing that. Well, if you get them on the phone, then your email is probably going to take some other form, right? It's going to summarize what you discussed. They may say, okay, you got me interested, tell me a little more. So that email afterward is going to be a little bit different. The email, if it's after a voicemail, will of course be different as well. It'll be similar to the call. The reason why, Bill, the reason why I left you a voicemail was because we found that, as I mentioned, we found that 83%, and maybe you're in that category, and et cetera, et cetera. If this resonates with you, here's my number, here's a Calendly link. Let's talk and see if it makes sense for you. So yeah, you're going to go ahead and send an email, but the contents will be a little bit different. Each email's contents should be different, no matter where you are in the buying cycle.
Bill, thoughts?
Yes.
I was thinking that personalization is huge, right? You got to break out of this automation hell where everything's generic, because honestly,
Right.
if there's only one reason, it's because it doesn't work. I don't know why people keep doing it. Are they trying to make it up on volume or something?
Here's something else. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
for it. You're a guest.
You talked about giving them something of value. So what I've done is as well is in the email saying, listen, even if you're not you don't want to have a call, you don't have this need now, please accept my sales manager's checklist. 12 items you can give to your sales manager. They can do to make sure you're hitting your targets, and just the slightest little tweak can bring real big results. My gift. No pitch, no catch, no nothing. So you're leading with value, and
Right.
it does two things. You give them the value, plus they see you know what you're talking about too.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. And it makes you different from everybody else that's
Right.
just trying to get a sale too early, actually. Like you need to qualify them, you need to have a relationship, you need to have some rapport, they need to believe in that you're credible. There's a lot that goes on before a sale's made, but a lot of people think they're going to send an email out to somebody and that client or that prospect is going to jump off their chair and buy. And it's an insane idea. All right. I want to mention next week our guest is Jeremy Scher, who is a video marketing expert. And video, according to a recent survey by Second Wind Network, used to be Tony Mikes, now it's his wife, whose name escapes me. Sorry, Mrs. Mikes. But video is very is at the top of the demand list right now for companies. So it'll be great to have Jeremy on. We had him on before, but it was just a technical disaster thanks to LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn. But we're gonna have him on again because he was just that great. But I guess to wrap this point up, put a little time in, personalize, bring something of value. Don't make it about you, make it about them. Show them that you really understand their problems. If you don't think you understand their problems, do the research. Call Bill, do voice of customer research, and get inside their head. The more you can get inside their head, the more relevant you're going to be. It's just that simple.
Let me make 2 points if I can.
Please
real
do.
quick, Pete. One, I think the post, email after a phone call is good just because you're dealing with another channel. And I think the more multiple channels of communication that you can utilize, I think the better the message. But your idea with the personalization, I think, is absolutely critical because I think all of us these days are so suspect with regard to AI that I don't know if that was an AI generated call, email, or whatever. So I think the more you can hit something that's personal or reiterate something that you discussed or some message that you left, I think starts to add a little bit of, I don't want to say credibility because you're not quite there yet, but at least it gives them a little bit more confidence that this might be legitimate versus something that's just, coming from some other country or some AI generated thing. So that's my 2 cents.
Or spam, right?
I
Um,
mean, exactly, exactly.
so this is a wildly misunderstood thing. Our next point, the case for LinkedIn messaging. Um, I don't, I get a lot of crap through there as well, but I do still think it's underutilized.
Hmm.
Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and the nice thing about that, there's a few things that I like about using direct messaging via LinkedIn. One, when they receive your message, all they have to do is click the picture and it'll take it to your profile. And then they could determine for themselves if this is someone that they want to work with, someone they could trust, do they have credibility? So, that would a whole nother topic about optimizing your LinkedIn profile, because, that's probably the first place you're going to go. And if you have the premium subscription, you could see who has viewed your profile and you could tie that back to who you sent a DM to, but a whole nother topic. But yes, the DM, very similar to cold email. Uh, Couple advantages you have if you've taken time to build a good network. So if you have a lot of first level connections and you post regularly on LinkedIn and they're active on LinkedIn, there's a better than even chance and they've seen some of your content over time. So when they receive your DM, you're not a stranger. They've seen your content. I've had people call me up and say, I've got this issue I need some help with. And, I feel like I know you already. I feel I've seen enough of you in videos. You know what you're talking about, and I trust you. And you don't get that in a lot of places. You don't get that with a cold email. But when you hear, I've heard it a couple of times. When I hear, I feel like I know you, and to your point about video, Pete, it's golden. Your work is 90% done.
Honestly, I wish more people understood this because I meet people all the time, business people. These are smart people, by the way. I never want to sound like, these guys are so dumb, No, these are smart people. But marketing eludes them. Not everybody is a subject matter expert in what we do. And so we are always trying. That's what this podcast is really all about, is to help educate people and make better decisions. But one thing I hear a lot is, look, we've never gotten a deal from our website. We've never gotten a deal from an email. We've never gotten a deal out of a trade show. We've never gotten a deal, a podcast? Right? They're not seeing the bigger picture of how people form an impression. I would say over 90% of the people that I reach out to already know who I am. I'm not famous or anything. I'm just saying that because of the algorithm and the way that this is our 103rd episode. Right? So time is the other thing, because I'll ask people, so you sent some emails and you didn't get a client out of it. Of course not. It's not how it works. But how many emails did you send total? Well, we wrote one email and we sent it to 100 people and didn't get a single client. Reach people, frequency, reach and frequency. And so it's frustrating to me, maybe just because I've spent my whole life doing this, but understand the function of these different parts of your communication strategy. Now, Louie, you have a super simple website. It's not fancy. It's simple. That's what works for you, right? But it has a video, right? Has a super clear value proposition, super clear call to action. I have a theory. It also screens people out, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's doing you a favor, right? You've
Right.
only got so many hours in the day. You want to work with people who you can help and who want to be helped. I can't tell you a number of times people have come in and I've actually worked with them. They say, yeah, I need help in this area. So you give them your best advice and they go, nah, I don't think so. It's like, I'm going to just do it the way I was doing
Why
it.
am I here? Why
Why
am I here? This is a David Sandler thing. If you get somebody and they're like, they don't have any problems, everything's awesome, but they still took a meeting with you. He says, you should say, John, I just have one question for you. Mind if I ask you a question? Sure, Pete, go ahead. Why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I doing here? I just had somebody say, they wanted to meet with me, and they wanted a lot of advice, and they wanted this and that. We have all the business that we can't even handle the business we have coming in. Why am I here?
Right.
So, but I love that aspect of it. It doesn't screen them. I'm more overt. I let people know that my personality is a mixture of Columbo and Gordon Ramsay. And so if that turns you off, then maybe move on. But I like, yours was more like, hey, if you don't have this set of problems, which was very clear, you know, that's how it works. So I just thought it was great.
So the other thing that you have to be careful, at least in my business, my ideal customer profile, my ICP is a founder, small business. Maybe he's got 10 salespeople, 15 salespeople, maybe 2 to 10 million in sales, but they're still in there making the deals, right? And they're coaching the salespeople. They call it founder-led sales. And it's something that I call, and very similar to you, I call it entrepreneuritis. It's a disease that I had as well, that you have to have your thumb on every little aspect of it. And you've got to cure yourself of that if you want to grow. And it's difficult. And so those people say, that's why they'll tell you, oh, everything is great, because to say it's not great would say that they aren't doing a great job.
That's right.
Not really open to letting go of the baby, you know, just let go of the baby and, you know, maybe you'll grow a little quicker.
You know, I always answer that question, how's business? I'll always answer it honestly. Sometimes people are like, they're kind of shocked because, you know, it isn't always great. It's not always, everything's not always great. It does a disservice to people if you're lying. And it's the fake it till you make it thing. You know, I think authenticity wins everything. Any last thoughts, Bill, before we go to our last talking point?
I think I'm good. I think
you feel good. You look good. So
conversation topic.
He always looks good, this guy. Like I feel look at these two good-looking guys on my program. I feel, oh man, I'll let that go.
I just think there's been so many good little pearls of wisdom that I hope that our listeners really have had a notebook writing some of this down. So, well, but Louie, you should let us know your website too, just so that the listeners have that where they can know where to go. So if you want to tell us that real quick, and then we'll go to our final thought.
It's easy. It's louiebernstein.com.
There you go.
LouieBernstein.com. And my LinkedIn profile, you can go on LinkedIn, I guarantee if you just Google or put in the search bar Louie Bernstein, you'll see my mug.
Sounds great.
Yeah, and you have a good custom URL. It's
sales-process.
Awesome. I love that. We've got one more point, then we'll go to final messages. And I love this last point because I just learned this today. I've learned a lot today. Thank you, Louie. I never noticed the audio message part it's on the mobile app, right? On LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You can send an audio message to people.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even received one, but I did leave one for Chris Cox. Chris, if you're out there, you're my guinea pig. Check your LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think this is a great way to humanize yourself as well. And I don't know why yet they don't have it on the desktop version, but they don't. And sometimes it feels like they're running two different companies, to be honest with you, between the mobile and the desktop people. But, you know, similar to video, it's a human voice. It's not a recorded voice, and it allows you to personalize. You could be looking at their profile as you're leaving the message and just make it something about them. You know, I saw, okay, first let me just say congratulations on, you know, your expansion, your promotion, your whatever. And, you know, it doesn't have to be long. And yeah, it's just another way to communicate. And since you're not seeing a lot of it, another way to differentiate yourself from everybody else.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm going to be using it a lot. I would tell people, make sure you have something in mind to talk about. It brings me back to my teenage years, leaving voice messages for girls. Don't do that. Yeah. So Bill, check that out. It's very cool. I was really glad.
Your voice messages for the girls?
Because I saved all of them.
Hey,
and so I'll make the most embarrassing documentary someday. Anyway, let's go to our final thoughts.
Do you have to be a premium member to be able to leave the voice message, or is it just on the mobile app?
I think it's just on the mobile app.
I think it is. Yeah.
That's a great feature. I think you're right.
And if you're not a premium member, you should be. So we'll go to final thoughts. Everybody stand by. So final thoughts. Let's start with our guest. Louie, what are your final thoughts on this topic? Then we'll go to Bill.
I think if you start off with a helping mindset, if you just start your day with who am I going to help today? How can I help them? As the great Tom Hopkins used to say, how can I help them get happily involved with my product? You're 90% ahead of everybody else. Just have a helping mindset. If you're right for them, great. If you can help them, great. If not, that's that. So that's my biggest takeaway. Just be a good person and try to help people.
Help people as much as possible. Bill, final thought.
Yeah. I think besides being personal, the only way to be personal is to, like you said, and everybody's already talked about, do your research. Know what are those pain points or what are the issues, or know some things about the person that you're trying to target, including what's their preferred marketing channel in order to reach them.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I think what I'm thinking about is, with our final thoughts, is there's no one way to reach people. It's usually going to be a combination of things, and the way you use those things together to build credibility, to build rapport, to create an authentic connection with people, combined with genuinely trying to help people. This is what separates elite salespeople from hack salespeople. Hack salespeople just want your money. Elite people want to help you, and they want to do it sincerely. And I want to help you, and Bill wants to help you, and I know Louie wants to help you as well. And so I got to remember to turn off the final thoughts graphic. It keeps coming back. But anyway, you're also listening to, let's give some credit to the band here. It's Mark Epstein on bass from Johnny Winter. It's Brandon Lane, the house drummer from Grand Ole Opry. Mark Kazanoff on the saxophone, the most recorded contemporary blues musician in America. And yours truly on the guitar. And so that's our outro theme that neither of you can hear, but I can, and I'm digging it. We'll see you next Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Time. It'll be our 104th episode, so can you dig it? Thanks, gentlemen. Stand by.
You are listening to the B2B Marketing Mindset with Pete Monfre and Bill Lowell. We want to help demystify marketing to reduce risk, drive more and better opportunities, and grow your business. Are you ready to master marketing?